Once upon a time, it was a crisp autumn day, about a year ago, when I felt the urge to escape into the tranquility of nature. With winter's chill looming on the horizon, I saw it as a perfect opportunity to immerse myself in the wonders of the great outdoors. So, I packed my hiking gear and set off for a weekend adventure in a nearby national park. Upon arriving at the trailhead, I was greeted by the sight of dense foliage and towering trees, their branches reaching towards the sky like outstretched arms. However, something seemed off. There were no signs or markers indicating the trail's direction. Instead, there was only a narrow path winding its way through the undergrowth. Undeterred by the lack of clear guidance, I embarked on my journey, eager to explore the hidden treasures that lay ahead. As I ventured deeper into the woods, the gentle rustle of leaves beneath my feet provided a comforting backdrop to my solitary trek. The forest seemed to come alive around me, teeming with life and vitality. Yet, despite the beauty that surrounded me, a sense of unease began to gnaw at the edges of my consciousness. It wasn't long before I noticed the peculiar network of side paths branching off from the main trail. Each one beckoned with a mysterious allure, tempting me to veer off the beaten path in search of adventure. But something held me back, a nagging feeling that it might be best to stay on course and stick to the familiar route. As the hours passed and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest floor, my sense of unease only intensified. The woods, once a source of solace and serenity, now seemed to close in around me, their darkness concealing unseen dangers lurking in the shadows. Then, just when I thought things couldn't get any stranger, I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing through the stillness of the forest. Whirling around, my heart pounding in my chest, I caught sight of a solitary figure making his way along one of the side paths. His appearance was disheveled, his clothing torn and weather-beaten. Despite his rough exterior, there was something about him that sent shivers down my spine. Instinctively, I sought refuge in the shadows, hoping to avoid detection. But it was as though he could sense my presence, his gaze piercing through the darkness with an intensity that left me trembling with fear. For a moment, we stood locked in a silent battle of wills, two strangers bound together by the unspoken language of apprehension. Then, without a word, he continued on his way, disappearing into the depths of the forest as quickly as he had appeared. Left alone once more with my thoughts, I struggled to shake off the feeling of dread that had settled over me like a suffocating blanket. As darkness descended upon the forest, I made the decision to retrace my steps and find my way back to safety. But the dense foliage seemed to conspire against me, obscuring any trace of the path I had once followed. Lost and disoriented, I wandered aimlessly through the wilderness, each step bringing me further into the heart of darkness. Hours stretched into eternity as I stumbled through the undergrowth, my senses heightened to the slightest rustle of leaves or snap of twigs. Yet despite the overwhelming sense of despair that threatened to engulf me, a glimmer of hope remained, a flickering beacon of light amidst the encroaching shadows. And then, just when I thought all was lost, I caught sight of a familiar landmark, the gnarled branches of an ancient oak tree standing sentinel against the night sky. With renewed determination, I pressed on, guided by the distant promise of salvation. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I stumbled upon the familiar sight of my car nestled amidst the trees, its headlights casting a warm glow against the encroaching dark. Tears of relief streamed down my cheeks as I collapsed into the safety of its embrace, overcome with gratitude for the simple blessing of survival. As I drove away from that desolate place, the events of the day replayed in my mind like a haunting melody, each note tinged with the bittersweet symphony of adventure and adversity. Though I may never fully understand the enigma of the man in the woods, one thing remains clear. His presence serves as a stark reminder of the fragile balance between civilization and the untamed wilderness that lies just beyond our doorstep. As I set out on my journey back to my hometown from a business trip, I deliberately declined the offer of a complimentary flight, choosing instead to take a leisurely drive to relax and enjoy some personal time. This departure from my usual routine of opting for the convenience of flying was a conscious decision. I craved the opportunity to embrace the experience of the open road and savor every moment of it. As departing from my work destination, the drive initially felt manageable. I passed through bustling cities and quaint towns, surrounded by the comforting presence of other vehicles traversing the same route. The journey was punctuated by familiar sights and sounds, offering a sense of security as I eased into the rhythm of the drive. But as the miles stretched on, the landscape began to change. The once frequent towns dwindled, giving way to vast expanses of fields and dense forests. The transition was gradual, yet unmistakable, as civilization slowly faded into the rearview mirror. As the afternoon wore on, a light drizzle began to fall, eventually intensifying into a relentless downpour. The rain hammered against the windshield, obscuring my view and casting a veil of uncertainty over the road ahead. Despite the worsening weather, I pressed on, determined to reach my destination. However, as the daylight waned, so too did my confidence. The road, once straight and predictable, began to twist and turn, leading me deeper into the heart of the forest. With each passing mile, the trees closed in around me, enveloping the car in an eerie silence broken only by the drumming of rain on the roof. Fighting back a rising sense of unease, I continued to navigate the increasingly treacherous road. Yet, as darkness descended, so too did my sense of direction. Fearing I had veered off course, I pulled over to consult my phone for guidance, only to be met with the dreaded words, "No service." Alone in the wilderness, with no signal to guide me, a sense of vulnerability washed over me. It was then that I noticed a glimmer of light in the rearview mirror, growing brighter with each passing moment. Another vehicle was approaching, its headlights cutting through the darkness like a beacon of hope. This relief flooded through me as the car drew closer, its presence offering a lifeline in my hour of need. Yet, as the vehicle came to a stop behind me, a wave of apprehension washed over me. Something didn't feel right. Summoning my courage, I rolled down the window to greet the stranger who had stopped to assist me. The man, clad in a dark hoodie, appeared unperturbed by the rain as he offered his help. Yet, as our eyes met, a flicker of doubt crossed my mind. His offer to assist seemed genuine enough, yet there was a lingering sense of unease that I couldn't shake. Why was he out here in the middle of nowhere? And why did he seem so unperturbed by the inclement weather? As he turned to retrieve his phone from his car, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. It was then that I noticed something glinting in his hand, a sight that sent a chill down my spine. Without a second thought, I slammed the car into gear and sped off into the night, leaving the stranger behind in a cloud of dust and uncertainty. For miles I drove in a state of panicked frenzy, my heart racing as I searched for signs of civilization. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I spotted the welcoming glow of a gas station up ahead. And with trembling hands, I dialed the authorities, recounting the harrowing encounter that had unfolded in the depths of the forest. Later, as I recounted the events of that fateful night, a sense of gratitude washed over me. Gratitude for the quick thinking that had saved me from who knows what fate, and gratitude for the simple screwdriver that had inadvertently spared me from a much darker ending. At the tender age of 19, with the warm embrace of summer break enveloping me, I found myself back home from college. My mom's abode nestled in the heart of the city, a familiar place where my childhood memories danced amidst the urban rhythm. However, my dad had sought solace in a quaint abode on the outskirts, a cozy sanctuary ensconced in the embrace of nature's grandeur. The allure of the woods behind my father's residence beckoned me, whispering promises of adventure and tranquility. It was amidst those rustling trees and dappled sunlight that I felt truly liberated, away from the cacophony of city life. Thus, the idea of a solitary camping trip took root in my mind, a simple yet enticing escapade into the wilderness. Equipped with the essentials and fueled by youthful exuberance, I embarked on my expedition just a couple of hours before sunset. With no music to accompany me, I immersed myself in the symphony of nature, relishing every chirp and rustle as I ventured deeper into the woods. Setting up camp was a breeze, and as twilight descended, I found myself ensconced by the crackling warmth of a campfire, lost in quiet contemplation. As night draped its velvet cloak over the forest, I retired to my tent, lulled by the gentle lullaby of nocturnal creatures. Morning dawned with a leisurely pace, and I found myself in no hurry to bid adieu to the sylvan embrace. Casual amble led me deeper into the woods, where time seemed to dance to its own whims. However, as the sun began its descent, a gnawing realization crept upon me. The path back eluded my grasp, lost amidst the labyrinthine woods. Panic, like tendrils of creeping mist, coiled around my heart as I desperately sought familiar landmarks. Darkness descended swiftly, shrouding the woods in an eerie cloak of uncertainty. A flicker of hope ignited as a distant light pierced the obsidian veil, beckoning like a beacon of salvation. Hastening towards it, my footsteps quickened with anticipation, only to stumble upon a decrepit cabin nestled amidst the trees. Uncertainty gnawed at my resolve as I hesitated at the threshold, apprehension tugging at my senses. Summoning courage, I rapped upon the door, my plea for assistance echoing in the stillness of the night. What greeted me was a tableau of suspicion and unease. Two strangers, their countenances etched with a peculiar blend of curiosity and worriness. Reluctance tugged at my heels as they invited me inside, their intentions cloaked in ambiguity. A palpable tension hung in the air as their scrutinizing gaze bore into me, dissecting my every word with a surgeon's precision. Disquiet settled like a heavy shroud as I recoiled from their sudden aggression, instinct propelling me towards the safety of the woods. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I fled into the enveloping darkness, pursued by shadows that whispered of unseen dangers. Hours stretched into eternity as I navigated the labyrinth of trees, each step a silent prayer for deliverance. It was only with dawn's first light that salvation beckoned, a lonely road stretching towards the horizon, leading me back to the embrace of civilization. The tale of my harrowing ordeal found its way to the ears of authorities, shrouded in whispers of mystery and trepidation. The abandoned cabin, a relic of bygone days, bore witness to a sinister presence lurking amidst its dilapidated walls. Yet the identity of those shadowy figures remains shrouded in ambiguity, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath nature's tranquil facade. As I recount my brush with the unknown, I am reminded of the fragility of human existence and the capricious whims of fate. For in the heart of darkness, amidst the whispering trees, lies a truth as old as time itself, a truth that beckons us to tread cautiously lest we become lost in the shadows forevermore.